Hello, students! And guess what? I think this is going to be our last daily do now for this weird online learning that we've been having to do. So congratulations for making it to the last daily do now. And actually this daily do now is a little different in that I am not going to go over specific vocabulary words. But instead, I'm going to go over a test question that many of you didn't get correct when you did the test on the first week. And I was struggling to understand why so many of you got this incorrect. And then I realized, I think what threw you off, and this is test question number 6. It's asking you what is the correct form of the verb. And it's confusing because it's written in what's called the passive voice. So many of you missed this question because it is written in what's called passive voice. And I need to fix my sentence there, put a period on the outside. So in English, we have two different voices. We have the active voice and we have the passive voice. Active voice is the best. It is the best way to write for being really clear. Passive voice is not the best, but we use passive voice quite a bit in English, and it gets confusing. The reason we use passive voice in English is it takes the responsibility away from people who are in charge. So it kind of hides the subject a little bit. And it makes sentences confusing because when we write or when we speak in the passive voice, we use two tenses. We use the present tense and the past tense, and that can get really confusing. So question number 6 on your test, this is number 6, we'll read something like this. I think it says, cell phones are blank during class discussions and tests. And a lot of you will see the verb are and you think present tense. And that's what you should think because are is a present tense verb. Now you need to decide which is the best answer here. Cell phones are prohibit during class discussions and tests. Cell phones are prohibited during class discussions and tests. Cell phones are prohibiting during class discussions or tests. Cell phones are prohibits during class discussions and tests. Now, before I go over the answer, I do want to put this sentence in the active voice so you can see the difference between active and passive. If I have the active voice, my subject would come first. And an active voice would be like, the teacher prohibits cell phones during class discussions. Because isn't it me who says no cell phones? Or is it? Maybe it's the administration or the principal. Those are my subjects. But I kind of want to hide my subject, maybe not blame the teacher for making this rule. Maybe it's not clear who exactly is in charge of the rule. Is it the teacher? Is it the administration? Is it the school board? We don't really know maybe exactly who is enforcing this rule. And so we hide the subject and we then take the direct object, cell phones, and we put that up front. And that's what makes it confusing, okay? Now, because prohibiting cell phones may not be due to the teacher, maybe it's administration, we do not really know who is responsible for the rules, so we kind of hide the subject and focus on the object instead, which in this case is cell phones. So in the passive voice, which is not the best writing, it's confusing when it comes to tense, we then put cell phones in the beginning of the sentence and we say cell phones are prohibited. And that's confusing because it's like a present tense verb and a past tense verb. It's very confusing and it's wordy. And that's why passive voice also is not the most effective voice to write in or speak in. So cell phones are prohibited during class discussions and tests. Now, active and passive voice can be very confusing because of that tense issue. And just keep in mind that active voice is more direct and actually better writing, and it's better speaking. There is a time when you do want to use your passive voice, though. If you want to hide your subject, a lot of politicians will use passive voice because they don't want to admit that they're the ones who pass laws that people may not really like. So passive voice can be more confusing because it kind of hides the subject of who does something or who did something. Okay. All right. Please answer the questions regarding passive and active voice. And I hope you get question 6 correct this time, now that you maybe understand a little bit how it is possible in a sentence to have a present tense verb like are and a past tense verb like prohibited if you are speaking in the passive voice. Okay. Good luck on your final test. Don't forget that I want you to go in to the portal and you're clicking on the little app with the dog, the HMH app, and you are taking the test that is Course B, Volume 2, Issue 4. And you are taking that test. You can take that Thursday or Friday. You can do a little bit of it on Thursday and a little bit on Friday. But that is your final. And remember, I'm giving you credit for just taking the test. And our hope is that you've made some growth this term. All right, you guys. I hope the next time that I see you is not in the Google Classroom, but actually on campus. So let's hope that people behave and maybe there's something will happen where we will be able to go back in the fall and see everybody at CO. All right, you guys have a great summer and good luck on that final.